Hello everyone, Daphne here with another video for you. This one is titled My Petrifying Fear of Flying. Now that may be hard for some of you to believe considering that I have flown over 3 million miles and visited some 45 countries in my lifetime. Yet that is a true statement. In my teenage years, I traveled all over the world with my parents. My father was in the Foreign Service, American Foreign Service, and we went to Europe, Africa, South America, and never once did I have a single ounce of fear in my body. So moving forward a number of years, when I was in my early 20s, I got married. And very happily for me, in the next several years, I had 4 children. 3 boys and 1 beautiful girl. During that period, my husband and I didn't travel that much. So I took my responsibility as a parent very seriously, and we pretty much stayed at home except for local trips. But in 1970, I talked my husband into taking me back to Europe because he had never been. And that's exactly what we did. So we hopped aboard a transatlantic flight from New Orleans to New York to London, England, and did all the touristy things, and we had a blast, including buying a lot of 18th century antique furniture. That was fun. Then it came time to leave England. We went out to Heathrow Airport and boarded this French plane, a Caravelle jet operated by Air France. Now, the important thing to look at in this picture is where the engines are. They are both in the back of the plane. My husband's and my seats were about 3/4 of the way back in coach. We were sitting next to a gentleman at the window, me in the center and my husband on the aisle. So we took off, no big deal, no problems, smooth as it could be. And we continued to climb to altitude. And then all of a sudden, I heard the engines turn off. I absolutely panicked. I took both my hands and dug my fingernails not only into my husband's leg, but the poor unsuspecting gentleman sitting next to me. I was terrified. Surely we were about to crash land. Immediately, my thoughts of my children flashed through my head, and I was scared to death. Well, the plane didn't lose altitude, and the plane didn't crash. And the very kind gentleman sitting next to me had some advice. He said to me, "Miss, I just returned from Vietnam, and I can tell you in no uncertain terms, the instruments available to the pilots in this plane will keep this plane and its passengers in the air. Do not fear." I would have given anything to have those type of instruments at my disposal as I flew bombing missions over North Vietnam. Whew! That was quite a statement. Anyway, I thanked him and apologized again profusely, and of course, we landed safely in Paris. But for some strange and unknown reason, from that day on, I had a paralyzing fear of flying. The trip home from France was a nightmare for me. I kept thinking about my kids and what would happen to them if my husband and I happened to go down in the ocean, and that thought just had me terrified. So for the next couple of years, we didn't travel much. But I decided I loved traveling so much that I had to find a solution to get over such a absolutely horrible fear of flying. So what did I do? I signed up for private flying lessons. So out to Lakefront Airport in New Orleans I went, and with 1 or 2 flying lessons for the next 2 months, I slowly but surely slowly is the operative word, got over my fear of flying. And I even got to the point where I was up to being able to test for my private pilot's license, believe it or not. But since my mission had been to get over my fears and nothing else, I did not take advantage of getting a private license. So, friends, from that day on, I lost every bit of apprehension I had about getting on a plane. And I'm so glad I did. But while it was going on, it was frightful and scary, and I was just in a state, worried about the fact that I love traveling so much and may not be able to do it because I was so fearful. But thanks to those very patient teachers out at the airport in New Orleans, I am now happy to say I am loving every minute of flying anywhere at any time. And the most important thing is I do not have a single iota of fear anymore. So this world traveler is very grateful to be able to say that.